I stood in the dining room of my childhood home in Ridgewood, Oregon on Thanksgiving night, watching my 8-year-old son Liam's face crumble as his grandma announced there was no pumpkin pie left for him. My sister Marissa's 2 kids were eating second slices. Mom said coldly, "He didn't earn it after the way he acted." My hands shook as I helped Liam into his coat. We walked out into the cold November night. At 9:45 p.m., my phone buzzed. Dad's text read, "We'll talk about transferring the house loan tomorrow." My blood ran cold. I drove home in silence, Liam crying softly in the back seat. The streetlights blurred through my tears as I gripped the steering wheel tighter than necessary. His quiet sobs felt like knives in my chest. 4 years ago, when I divorced my husband, Evan, I was financially shattered. The legal fees had drained everything. We had married at 19, full of big dreams that slowly turned into resentment. Evan was controlling, dismissive of my work, and made me feel small every single day. Leaving him was the hardest but best decision of my life, and it left me broke. I work as a dental hygienist. I earn okay money, but not enough to buy a home in today's market as a single mom. Evan pays the bare minimum child support the court ordered, barely enough to cover half of Liam's daycare back then. I was apartment hunting and losing hope when my parents offered to help. Dad sat me down in their living room and told me they'd sign a mortgage and help with the down payment. I cried from relief. We found a small 3-bedroom ranch in a peaceful neighborhood in Brookdale. Nothing fancy, but it had a yard where Liam could play. My parents contributed 10% toward the down payment and signed on as co-borrowers. For 4 years, I've never missed a single payment. But their names are still on the title. Tonight, I finally understood what that really meant. Growing up, I was always the difficult daughter. Marissa, 2 years older, was the golden child straight, a student cheer captain married to Caleb, whose family owned a construction business. They have 2 kids, Leo, who's 9, and Hazel, who's 5. Marissa never worked after her wedding. She didn't need to. I took a different path, community college certification, years of struggle. I married for love, not money. And when that love died, I started from zero. Mom never let me forget that. The favoritism wasn't new. At Liam's 8th birthday 6 months ago, Mom spent the whole party fussing over Hazel because she didn't like the balloon colors. When it was time to sing, Mom was so distracted she didn't even join. We sang without her. Liam noticed. At Easter, Liam got scolded harshly for running in the house, but when Leo and Hazel did the same thing, Mom called them playful. Even Liam noticed the double standard at age 7. I always stayed quiet, for peace, for family, for the mortgage, but tonight shattered everything. Before dinner, Liam had been playing tag with his cousins in the basement. I heard him cry and rushed downstairs. He was on the floor holding his elbow. Leo stood nearby, guilty. "He pushed me," Liam said. "I didn't mean to." Leo muttered. The elbow was bruising, but not broken. Mom appeared at the stairs. "What's this noise about?" "Liam, stop being dramatic. Boys play rough, toughen up. You're ruining the fun." Liam shut down. I knew that look, the same one I wore as a kid. Dinner was tense for me, normal for everyone else. Marissa talked about dance classes and soccer tournaments. Caleb talked business. Dad made small talk. Liam barely ate. Then dessert. Mom had made 2 pumpkin pies, golden and perfect. She cut huge slices for everyone. Marissa's kids got seconds. Liam waited politely. When there was a pause, he asked softly, "Grandma, may I have a piece, please?" Mom gave him a cold look. "I'm sorry, Liam, there's none left." I turned. Half a pie sat on the counter. "Mom, there's more right there." "That's for later," she said sharply. Everyone's had dessert except Liam. Her face hardened. Liam didn't earn dessert tonight, crying over nothing, being sensitive, disrupting everyone. He doesn't deserve pie. Maybe he'll learn to toughen up. The room froze. Liam's eyes filled with tears, but he held them back. Something inside me snapped. I stood up. Liam, get your coat. Don't be dramatic. Mom snapped. I ignored her. At the door, Dad stood there expressionless, the same look he always had when Mom crossed the line. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. He said nothing. At home, I made Liam hot chocolate and put on his favorite movie. Later, I tucked him into bed. Mom, he whispered, "Yeah, buddy, are you mad at Grandma?" I swallowed hard. "I'm disappointed, but you did nothing wrong." He nodded, unsure. After he slept, I checked my phone. That's when I saw the text, 9:45 p.m. "Dad, transfer the house loan tomorrow." My stomach dropped. Transfer the mortgage. What did that even mean? I scrolled up and realized I had missed a second text, sent 2 minutes after the first. "Your mother wants her contribution back. The house must be refinanced in your name only by the end of month or we will initiate a sale. This is not negotiable." I read it 3 times, then 3 more. The room tilted. They were threatening to force me to refinance or lose my home because I walked out of Thanksgiving dinner, because I stood up for Liam. I looked around my bedroom, the pale green walls I had painted myself, the second-hand dresser I refinished, the framed photos of Liam at different ages. This was our home, our safe place, and my parents were using it as leverage to control me. I barely slept. Friday morning, I dropped Liam off at school. He seemed cheerful, talking about a clay project they were finishing. I smiled and nodded, but inside I was spiraling. I called in sick, something I rarely did, and sat in my car trying to breathe. At 9:00 a.m., I called my bank. A mortgage specialist named Susan pulled up my account. I explained everything. My parents were co-borrowers, wanted off the loan, and expected me to refinance a loan. She typed for a while. "Let me check the numbers. You've been a perfect payer. But with current interest rates being much higher than they were 4 years ago, and only your income qualifying." She paused. "To refinance in your name alone, your monthly payment will increase by $650. Is that manageable?" No. Absolutely not. I was already stretched thin. Food, utilities, gas, Liam's school costs, everything was tight. Another $650 would drown me. "I can't do that," I whispered. "I'm so sorry," she said. "If your financial situation changes or if rates drop, we can revisit it, but right now I can't approve it." I thanked her and hung up, then sat in my car and tried not to break down. Lunchtime, I called Dad. He picked up on the 3rd ring. "Dad, we need to talk about the text." "There's nothing to talk about. Your mother made her decision." His voice was cold. I knew that tone, the one he used whenever he enforced Mom's decisions without question. "Dad, I can't refinance. The bank said no." "Then you'll have to sell." My hands went numb. "Sell? Dad, this is Liam's home. His school is nearby. This is all he knows. You should have thought about that before disrespecting your mother. You embarrassed her in front of Marissa and Caleb." I closed my eyes. She denied my son dessert because he cried when he got hurt. She's treated him unfairly for years, and you know it. Liam needs to learn the world isn't fair. Your mother is teaching him resilience. You coddle him like you were coddled. And look where that got you, divorced, struggling, dependent on us. Each word hit like a slap. "Dad, please, there has to be another way." He sighed. For a moment I thought maybe he felt guilt. "Then Marissa and Caleb are looking at investment properties. They asked if we'd partner with them. The equity in your house would help. If you can't refinance, we need to sell. You'll get time to find a rental." Everything clicked. This wasn't about respect or discipline or Liam learning toughness. This was about money, about Marissa wanting something and my parents doing what they always did, give everything to her and take from me. So you're choosing Marissa's investment over your grandson's home, over our stability. Stop being dramatic. This is a sound financial plan. You've had 4 years of below-market support. It's time you stood on your own. I wanted to scream. I wanted to remind him of every sacrifice I'd made to keep up the payments, but it didn't matter. I need to go, I said. Think about what's best for everyone, not just yourself. He hung up. I sat in the parking lot for an hour, stunned. They wanted to sell my home. Liam would have to leave Ridgewood Primary, his friends, his room with the rocket chip border I'd put up when we first moved in. We'd be back in an apartment, or worse, farther from his school. That evening, after making dinner, doing homework, and tucking Liam into bed, I called my best friend, Morgan. She lived 20 minutes away in Ashford Hills with her husband and son, Liam's best friend. I need to talk, I said. Come over, I'll pour wine. I asked my next-door neighbor, sweet elderly Mrs. Chen, to keep an ear out for Liam while he slept. Then I drove over. Morgan took one look at me and hugged me hard. Over 2 glasses of wine, I told her everything. Thanksgiving, the mortgage threat, the bank meeting, Dad's cruelty, the pressure to sell. Morgan slammed her glass down. This is financial abuse, Ashley. They're using your home to control you. I don't know what to do, Morgan. I can't refinance. I can't afford to lose the house. You fight back. How they hold all the power. Do they? You made every payment. You built the equity. They only signed and paid part of the down payment. There have to be legal options. I blinked. I never thought of that. Morgan nodded. My cousin Jennifer is a family law attorney. Let me call her. Over the weekend I did research. Our home, bought for $220,000, was now worth roughly $445,000, a huge jump. And while digging through public county records, I found something else. 6 months ago, my parents had taken out a $180,000 home equity loan on their house. Why, what for? They'd always been debt-averse. Something wasn't right. Sunday night, an email from Marissa's subject line, family business proposal. My stomach dropped. Inside was a detailed plan. My parents would force the sale of my home, right arrow, take their equity, right arrow, and invest with Marissa and Caleb, right arrow, into multi-unit rental properties. There were spreadsheets, projections, property photos. At the bottom, Mom and Dad deserve returns on their investment. You've had 4 years of below-market help. Time to be an adult. This will secure their retirement. Happy to discuss over lunch if you can be mature. My hands shook. The entitlement, the cruelty, the total disregard for Liam's stability. I forwarded it to Morgan. She called instantly. You're getting a lawyer first thing Monday, right? Yes, I said. For the first time in days, the fear turned into something else, anger. Cold, controlled anger. I wasn't going to let them take my home. Monday, meeting the lawyer, Morgan's cousin, Jennifer Wallace, family law attorney, had an opening at 3:00 p.m. downtown. I brought mortgage documents, 4 years of payment, records, Dad's threatening texts, Marissa's investment, email screenshots of their home equity loan, a written recap of Thanksgiving. Jennifer read everything in silence, then said, You have options, good ones. My heart thudded. You may not be able to refinance, but you don't have to. We can file a partition action. My breath caught. She continued, The court can force your parents to sell their share to you at fair market value, especially since you've paid every mortgage payment. You also have a minor child living in the home. If that matters. I blinked. So I might keep the house. It's very possible, especially if we show bad faith, and there's plenty here. Also, this home equity loan your parents took out is suspicious. We should investigate. She explained the process. It would take time and money, and it would shatter whatever was left of my relationship with my parents. Are you prepared for that? She asked. I thought of Liam's face when he was denied pie, of years of favoritism. Of emotional manipulation, of threats, yes, I said. I'm prepared. Jennifer drafted a cease and desist letter demanding they halt all sale attempts. She also requested full financial disclosure, including details of their mysterious home equity loan. Meanwhile, life continued: work, school, homework, Legos, dinner. Liam flourished without family gatherings. He laughed more, slept better, participated more in class. Sunday afternoon, I drove to my parents' house for a face-to-face conversation, hoping to resolve things before court. I left Liam with Morgan. The confrontation, I rang the doorbell. Dad answered, surprised. I need to talk to you and Mom. He hesitated, then let me in. I walked into the living room and froze. Mom, Marissa, Caleb, all sitting there, waiting, an ambush. Sit, Mom ordered. I'll stand. I said, I came to speak to my parents. We're all family. Marissa said smugly, say whatever you need. Dad stayed silent. Fine, they wanted an audience, they'd get one. I'm not selling my house. I've retained an attorney. If you attempt to force a sale, we will go to court. Mom's face reddened. You're suing your parents. I'm protecting my home, my son's home. You're being selfish, Marissa snapped. Mom and Dad helped you when you were desperate. Now they need something, and you refuse. Grow up. They don't need anything. They want my equity so you can invest. It's a good investment. She insisted. It'll secure their retirement. My home isn't your investment vehicle. Mom stood. That's enough. You've always been the difficult one. You made bad choices with Evan. You're struggling financially because you're weak. And now you're raising Liam to be weak. My stomach twisted. Mom, Liam is 8 years old. You denied him dessert because he cried when he got hurt. That's not resilience. That's cruelty. I was teaching him toughness. No, you were playing favorites like always. Marissa jumped in. My kids aren't fragile. Maybe if you didn't baby Liam, he'd be tougher. Honestly, maybe he should spend more time with Caleb and Leo. Learn to man up. Caleb nodded, arms crossed, smug. Something in me snapped. For the first time in my life, I didn't back down. I've made every payment for 4 years. I've provided a stable home for Liam. You've used financial threats to control me. And Marissa has always gotten everything she wants while I got crumbs. Mom's voice rose. You're being dramatic and ungrateful. Ungrateful, I said quietly. I've thanked you 1,000 times for helping with the house. I said, but that help came with strings I didn't know about. You're using it as leverage to manipulate me. Gregory finally spoke. We've already talked to a real estate agent. The house could be listed next week. We're giving you the courtesy of finding your own place before we force a sale. That's more than generous. The room tilted. They'd already contacted an agent. This was happening whether I fought or not. They were serious. Then I noticed something, a folder on the coffee table. Caleb's hand rested casually over it, but I could see the tab. Investment proposal, property portfolio. They'd been planning this for weeks, maybe months. This wasn't a reaction to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was just the excuse. I felt strangely calm, detached, like I was watching this happen to someone else. You're not going to force me to sell my house, I said quietly. Helen started to argue, but I cut her off. I've made every single payment for 3 years. I've been a good daughter despite everything, but I'm done. I'm getting a lawyer, and we're going to court if necessary. And Liam and I will not be attending any family functions until you can treat us with basic respect. I turned to leave. Marissa laughed, actually laughed. Good luck affording a lawyer on a dental hygienist's salary. My hand was on the doorknob. I could have left. I should have left, but I turned back. Actually, I said, I already contacted one on Friday afternoon, and she's very interested in a few things I found in the county property records. Their faces shifted. Did you know public records are online? I continued. I can see that you refinanced this house 6 months ago. $180,000 home equity loan. I'm wondering where that money went." The room went silent. Gregory's face paled. Helen and Marissa exchanged a look, panic, brief but visible. "That's none of your business," Gregory said, though without conviction. "Maybe not," I replied, "but my lawyer thinks it might be relevant. Something about fiduciary responsibility between co-borrowers. She's going to look into it." I didn't wait for a response. I walked out, got into my car, and drove away. My hands shook so badly I had to pull over 2 blocks later and sit until the adrenaline stopped flooding my body. I'd done it, I'd stood up to them, I'd fought back. And when I mentioned that loan, I'd seen something new in their faces, fear and guilt. Something was going on, something they didn't want me to know. Jennifer was going to love this. Monday morning, I took another personal day from work. I didn't have many left, but this mattered more. Jennifer met me at 8:00 a.m. "Tell me about yesterday," she said. I recounted everything. When I reached the part about the home equity loan and their reactions, Jennifer leaned forward. "That's interesting, very interesting. Give me a few days to dig into this. Public records can tell us a lot." While Jennifer investigated, I tried to maintain normalcy. Work was understanding. My boss knew I was dealing with a legal family crisis. Coworkers I was close to offered support. It helped. Wednesday afternoon, Jennifer called. "Can you come in tomorrow morning? I found something." I was there at 9 sharp. She had papers spread across her desk. "Sit," she said. "This is bigger than we thought." She walked me through it. 6 months ago, Gregory and Helen took out the $180,000 home equity loan. Through discovery, Jennifer traced the funds. They had invested the money into an LLC called Marlow Ridge Investments. The principals listed, Marissa and Caleb. My parents invested in my sister's business. I whispered. Jennifer nodded. The LLC was formed 8 months ago. It had purchased 2 small rental properties. The venture failed. Both properties were sold at a loss 4 months ago. They lost the money, I said. Yes, based on the records, they recovered maybe $60,000 of the original $180,000. My head spun. Perfect Marissa, with her perfect life, was drowning in debt and had dragged our parents down with her. "So the equity in my house," I said slowly. "They wanted to cover their losses," Jennifer finished. "And likely bail Marissa out again." She continued, "As co-borrowers on your mortgage, your parents have a fiduciary duty to act in good faith. Forcing you to sell your home to recover failed investment losses for your sister could be seen as a breach of that duty. What does that mean for the case?" "It means we have a strong argument, very strong. The court may order them to sell you their share at the original contribution amount, adjusted for inflation, or award you the house entirely due to their bad faith." Hope stirred inside me, real hope. What's next? We prepare for depositions. 2 weeks later, Jennifer built the case. My parents' attorney sent threatening letters demanding I vacate the property. Jennifer responded professionally, unfazed. Morgan threw a dinner party for me one Friday, a night I didn't know I desperately needed. Laughter, support, stories of others who had stood up to toxic family dynamics. I wasn't alone. Liam blossomed without forced family gatherings. He made the school basketball team. He laughed more. He slept better. One night, as I tucked him in, he said, "Mom, I like when it's just us. It feels happier." I kissed his forehead. "It feels that way to me too, buddy." December, a stiff, formal invitation arrived for Christmas at my parents' house. I ignored it. 2 weeks later, a certified letter arrived, a lawsuit. They were suing me for unlawful detainer and demanding I vacate within 30 days. Attached at the back was a handwritten note from Gregory. "This doesn't have to go this way. Call your mother and apologize. Drop the lawyer. We can work this out as a family. We're trying to give You went out, take it. It was manipulation wrapped in a lawsuit. I photographed it and sent it to Jennifer. Her reply came 2 minutes later. Perfect. This demonstrates bad faith negotiation. Don't worry, we've got this. I wasn't worried anymore. I was angry, but productively angry. They wanted a fight. They were going to get one. The counter suit Jennifer filed our response within days. Not only did she dismantle their unlawful detainer claim, she filed a partition action. The court must either 1. Force my parents to sell me their share at their original contribution, inflation adjusted, or 2. Order a sale where I receive full equity based on payments and appreciation. I wasn't backing down. January 8, Depositions. The conference room was cold, sterile. My parents sat across from me. Helen looked older. Gregory was expressionless. Their attorney, Richard Morrison, was stiff and humorless. The questioning began. My job, my finances, my divorce, my relationship with Liam's father. He tried to paint me as irresponsible. Jennifer objected frequently. When he tried to frame Thanksgiving as me disrespecting them, I remained calm. My son wasn't disciplined. He was denied dessert as punishment for being hurt. My mother was showing favoritism. Jennifer squeezed my arm under the table, proud. Then it was my parents' turn. Jennifer was precise, lethal. She asked about income, debt, expenses. Then came the home equity loan. Mr. Harris, you took out $180,000 loan 6 months ago. Where did the money go? Gregory shifted. That's personal. Your co-borrowers, it's relevant. Where did the money go? A long pause. An investment. What kind? A property venture. Be specific. Another pause. With our daughter Marissa and her husband Caleb. And how did that investment perform? It didn't work out. How much did you lose? Gregory looked at Morrison, then said quietly, about $120,000. Even the court reporter looked up. Jennifer continued, relentless. And is it true you're now trying to force your daughter to sell her home to recover those losses? We're exercising our rights as co-owners. After 3 years of perfect payments, 2 months after the investment failure, and 1 month after a family argument, that timing doesn't seem suspicious. Morrison objected. Overruled. Then Jennifer asked the question that broke everything open. When did Marissa first suggest selling Ashley's house to recoup your investment? Gregory's face drained of color. August. She mentioned it in August, 2 months before Thanksgiving. The entire disrespect narrative shattered. Settlement. Jennifer returned from mediation 2 hours later. Expression satisfied. They want to settle. Really. They were advised their case is weak, very weak. The failed investment, the timing, your payment history, their admissions. It's all bad for them. What are they offering? $80,000. Jennifer leaned back in her chair as she reviewed the settlement offer. They want their original down payment contribution, she said, plus $20,000. In exchange, they'll sign over all rights to the house. You refinance however you can, and everyone walks away. I swallowed. That was more than their original contribution. Honestly, Jennifer added, we can do better. I frowned. What do you mean? I'm countering with their original contribution adjusted for inflation. That comes to about $15,000 total. They relinquish all claims, the house becomes entirely yours, and you refinance only if. When you choose, will they accept that? I asked. Jennifer's expression sharpened. I think so. They're scared. If this goes to trial, everything becomes public, the failed investment, the manipulation, all of it. Your dad's consulting business would take a hit, and your mother. She'd be mortified. They want this to disappear. How long until we know? A few days. Those few days felt like weeks. I went to work, took care of Liam, tried to stay busy. Morgan called every night. She kept me sane. Jennifer finally rang. They accepted with one modification. My stomach twisted. What is it? They want $50,000. I blinked. That's more than we offered. Yes, she said, but far less than they wanted. And she paused for emphasis. They're covering all your legal fees, Ashley. I think you should take it. It gets you the house, gets them out of your life, and you're not drowning in attorney costs. I sat in silence thinking. 50,000 was a lot, more than I wanted to pay, but it was my house. Liam's home, our fresh start. If I accept, I asked softly, how do I pay them? You can roll it into a refinance or make direct payments set up by the court. A small personal loan is also possible. You've got options. I inhaled deeply. Let's accept. I want this over, done, she said. I'll draw up the settlement. When I hung up, I sat in my car outside work, stunned. I'd done it. The house was going to be mine. Truly mine. I called Liam's school to pick him up early. When he got in the car, he looked nervous. Am I in trouble? No, buddy. I smiled the opposite. I have good news. We're keeping the house. Grandma and Grandpa won't bother us about it anymore. His entire face lit up. Really? We don't have to move. We don't have to move. He leaned forward and hugged me from the back seat. You're the best mom ever. Tears burned my eyes. We're going to be okay, Liam. Better than okay. But the story wasn't over yet. After putting Liam to bed, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something instinct told me to answer. Hello, Ashley, it's Caleb. I almost hung up. What do you want? I asked sharply. I need to tell you something. I'm calling without Marissa's knowledge. His voice was exhausted, defeated. That new investment opportunity she told your parents about. The one she said would help them recover their money. It doesn't exist. Cold shock threaded through me. What do you mean? She made it up, he said. She wanted the money to cover our debts. Your parents don't know. She's been lying to them for over a year. I sat down slowly on the arm of the couch. Why are you telling me this? He exhaled shakily. Because if this goes to trial, everything comes out our debt, Marissa's manipulation, everything. And honestly, this has gone too far. What she did to you pushing your parents to take your house was wrong. I'm complicit. I went along with it, but I can't keep doing this. I asked the obvious question. Are you recording this? No, but you can record me if you want. Use it however you need to. I quickly put him on speaker and started a voice memo on another device. Say that again, I said, and he did, all of it, the lies, the fake investment, the manipulation, the debt, the push to steal my home. When he finished, he said quietly, For what it's worth, you're a good mom, Ashley, and Liam's a good kid. He didn't deserve any of this. The call ended. I sat frozen. Then I sent the recording to Jennifer with a single message. You'll want to hear this. 10 minutes later, she called back. This, she said, changes everything. Emergency settlement conference. Jennifer moved fast. With Caleb's testimony and his written permission to use it, we had explosive evidence. She contacted Morrison, my parents' attorney, and requested an emergency settlement conference. After he heard the sealed proffer, he called an immediate recess. 2 hours later, he returned with a request. My parents wanted a full family meeting. All parties present, all attorneys, neutral location, Monday morning. I didn't bring Liam. Morgan watched him. We met in a mediator's office. My parents looked older than I'd ever seen them. Marissa arrived last with Caleb. Her face was tight, defensive. The mediator, a composed woman named Dr. Helen Shaw, explained the ground rules. Jennifer started by pressing play on the recording. Caleb's voice filled the room. When it ended, silence hung heavy and suffocating. Every eye turned to Marissa. At first she tried to deny it, then to twist it, then to blame, but Caleb held firm. And my parents, they crumbled. Helen cried quietly. Gregory looked like the floor had disappeared beneath him. The truth was undeniable. Marissa had lied about everything. She'd stolen their money, lost it, then tried to take my house to fix her mistakes. When my mother whispered, "Ashley, I'm so sorry," it was the first time in my life it sounded real. With the new evidence, Morrison told my parents plainly they had no case. The agreement finalized. My parents accept only their original down payment contribution adjusted for inflation. $16,000. They cover all my legal fees. They sign over all rights and ownership of the house. All documentation to be completed within 1 week. They agree to family therapy if I ever choose to participate. Marissa and Caleb were excluded from everything. Gregory told Marissa directly, "We're done funding your life. Handle your own problems." She stormed out in tears. Caleb followed silently. My parents stayed. Mom asked, "Can I hug you?" I let her, but my arms stayed stiff. "I need actions," I said, "not words." "I understand," she whispered. The house becomes mine within 2 weeks. Everything was signed. I paid the $16,000 through a small personal loan with comfortable terms. A month later, the refinance finalized. Because my credit and payment history were excellent, my new mortgage payment actually went down by $105. When I received the final paperwork, the deed showing my house was truly, legally mine, I sat in my car and sobbed. Happy, exhausted, relieved tears. When I told Liam, he squealed, "So we're really, really staying. We're really, really staying." He hugged me tight. "I love our home." "Me too, Liam." My mom wrote me a 6-page letter taking full accountability. I wasn't ready to respond, but I kept it. My parents began therapy. We slowly rebuilt carefully, cautiously. Supervised visits, firm boundaries. Consequences, Marissa and Caleb spiraled. They sold their big house, moved into a small rental. Marissa got her first job in over a decade. It wasn't my problem anymore. Spring came, Liam thrived. At school, in soccer, with friends. I received a promotion at work. Senior dental hygienist. Our financial stability grew, our peace grew, our life grew. One night, after Liam's birthday party, I sat on the porch thinking about the last 8 months. I had fought monsters, not the bedtime kind, but the kind disguised as family, guilt, obligation, and control. And I'd won. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but bravely, for Liam, for myself, for the life we deserved. Family is supposed to be your safe place. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones you need protection from. And when that happens, you face a choice: keep the peace or protect yourself. I chose protection, for me, for Liam, and it saved us. Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace with family and protecting your own well-being, or your children's? Have you ever been called selfish for setting boundaries? Share your story in the comments. Your words might help someone who's still living their version of this. And if this story resonated with you, please like the video and subscribe for more stories of strength, resilience, and hope. Protect your peace. Protect your children. Protect yourself. You deserve respect, even from family, especially from family.